Ashley, excellent.
Hi.
Hi. Look at this. We're all just a party because Dummy over here forgot to post a link to the thing and wondering like, where is everybody? Why am I all alone?
It's just you today.
Yeah. Well, this is actually going to work out pretty well because we can talk to the 7th and 8th grade girls about what. Oh, and we got Angelique. I mean, this is like perfect. So yeah, I'll hit the countdown so that because the commercials have been running and everything already. Here we go. So then I said, oh, hi. Welcome in. It is Thursday night. It is your pre-Friday. And again, given the crowd that we have tonight, first of all, let's say hello to AJ, who we have not seen in forever because she's been coaching an esports team out in Kansas City. Say hello, AJ.
Well, howdy.
Welcome back.
I'm so happy to be back, I gotta tell you.
It is so great to have you back. Just give yourself a brief introduction to everybody who doesn't know who you are.
Sure. I am AJ. I am the esports coach over at Park University in Kansas City, Missouri.
And you also have, what are you also involved with NACE and the Kansas City Esports Coalition? Is that it?
Oh, yeah. Yes. Also, yes. So for NACE, I am the vice chair of the board of directors. And for the Kansas City Esports Coalition, I'm currently vice chair as well.
Very good. And directly below me, we have...
Hello, everyone. My name is Angelique Gianas. I am an English teacher in San Diego, California, and I also run our gaming program. And I'm a NASEF Scholastic Mentor. It's been a minute. I'm like, hey, guys.
And Sam Anton is already blowing up the chat tonight with comments.
Go, Sam, go.
Yes. And then right over here we have...
I'm Carrie Linden. Go by the Chakmuju on Twitter. I am the communication specialist for Liminal Esports Snowbright Studios, and I am an ex-middle school teacher and game program operator.
And I am James O'Hagan. I'm the Director of Digital and Virtual Learning for the Racine Unified School District and also the host of the Academy of Esports podcast. And rather than try to do two separate things, because I know that I had been pinging all of you wonderful people about helping our school district with the Girls in Education, Math, and Science Conference, would anybody have any objections if we just did it right now and to talk about some of the things that maybe, that 7th and 8th grade girls who are involved in wanting to learn more about gaming and gaming culture. We could talk about these things. Oh, and Danielle's made it. Hold up. We have the C30 of esports here.
We're like a stacked group today.
I know. You are surrounded by women.
Again, I was an elementary school teacher.
I can't hear you yet.
Okay.
I was an elementary school teacher for many years, so this is completely normal for me. Everything feels completely fine. So, can you hear us now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Can you hear me now? Good.
So
what's that from?
You're muted.
So Danielle, we were going to we're just going to kill two birds with one stone, and we're going to do the little gems thing for the 7th and 8th grade students in Racine Unified tonight, because it is me and then all of you who are all the people we wanted to have for the Gems conference anyway. And if Sam Anton ever wants to step in, she is more than welcome to get in on this as well too, because I think girls would love to hear what she has to say as well. But Danielle, go ahead and introduce yourself to the group.
I'm Danielle Johnson. I'm a middle school teacher in Dallas, Texas, and I am also the executive director for the Texas Scholastic Esports Federation.
Very good. Yep. And so over the next 40 minutes or so, we're going to just talk about what is, first of all, esports versus video games. Let's talk about how your roles are also very different. I mean, we have Carrie, who works at a gaming company. We have AJ, who is a coach, and we have Angelique and Danielle, who are two teachers who work with esports programming both at their school and at a statewide level. So first question I want to throw out there to everybody here, what is the difference between video games and esports? Because esports is getting thrown out there a lot, but there's got to be a difference between the two of them.
I think for me, a big difference is how you organize, run, and process video games versus esports. Like you can run a video game club. You can cover a lot of the stuff that is in the esports environment, but if you're talking specifically about esports, there's a certain component to it that involves like explicitly covering, teamwork and strategy and practice and goal setting and reaching. Like it's just more focused. Obviously there's a competitive nature to it. We're just running a gaming program. There doesn't have to be any competitive aspect to it at all. But when you have esports, there has to be a competitive nature to it. And generally speaking, it needs to have an audience to watch and to participate with it.
Okay, so AJ, you're a coach of an esports team, and how did you end up becoming a coach for something like this?
Yeah, so I guess long story short, after I had graduated from my undergrad, I continued to work in higher ed. And I really enjoyed working in higher ed. I liked, faculty, student, staff interaction. But in my free time, I, was really into video games, and what really got me kind of launched into esports was just my love for League of Legends and seeing how the NALCS has become the monolith that it is today.
What is that? What is for the 7th and 8th grade girls who don't know? What is the NALCS?
Yeah, so that is the North American League Championship Series. Now it is the LCS, but that's basically just the professional League of Legends circuit. So, I did just a lot of working for just some smaller esports organizations just in my free time. So when esports was kind of getting into the collegiate scene, and, I had figured out, okay, it's really taking two things that I really enjoy and I'm really passionate about and kind of just putting it together. So, I reached out to a couple of, universities that were looking for coaches and directors, and, saw the ones that I think that I aligned with and that I would enjoy working at the most. And that's how I ended up in Kansas City.
Well, and that's a place where I grew up and I love very much, and I can't wait to get back and visit so we can hang out in my old stomping grounds of North Kansas City, which is very much different now. But Angelique and the C3O of esports, Miss Danielle Johnson, how is it that you came to find yourselves involved with gaming through education?
I mean, for me, it was like a natural transition. I've always been a gamer my entire life. And then I decided to become a teacher. And I never thought that the two things would overlap. I just thought I was going to go to college. And I used to stream on Twitch when I was in college. But when I became a teacher, I was like, oh, I can't do that anymore. Teachers have to be totally private, and I should have no online presence. And if any online presence, it shouldn't be anything that is not professional. Mm-hmm. And so at first I never really saw the crossover, but then, I kept talking about video games with my students all the time, and it kept coming up in conversation. And I'm like, wait a minute, why don't we have a club for this? Why aren't we, and this was 3-4 years ago now, why don't we have a club for this? Why aren't we playing video games together? And so it was just kind of a natural transition into creating that club, because it was the kids were there, but the club wasn't.
Right.
So they were meeting there by themselves anyway. They were sitting out playing games anyway. So it was a natural transition to creating the club and then getting involved in the competitive aspect of it. But for me, I'm more interested in I would say the casual aspect of everything. And then it also just easily meshed into English too, because the complexities of storytelling within video games, and it all just kind of fell together. And now it's like this mishmash of me teaching, but also streaming and doing this and doing so many awesome other things.
What about you, Danielle? Because you're at the middle school level, aren't you? You're a middle school teacher. So a lot of the girls who may be watching this are 7th and 8th graders. How did you get started with this? Was it some students who came to you, or was this students in your class talking to you about this, or how did you come to this world?
Sort of unwillingly. To be honest, growing up, I was an athlete. I didn't play video games. And even as an athlete, I am not a competitive person. I don't really compare myself to other people or what other people are, or worry about what other people are doing. So the idea of like competing for video games, like I knew it was there. I knew it was big. And like I knew our students wanted it, but like I was like, why would I do that kind of thing? And then got a little frustrated with some esports community type things and was like, I am in a position to change this. Like I might not know about gaming and esports, but I'm a quick learner and I'm good with people and I'm good at organizing people. So that's the skill set I used. And rounded up teachers from all over Texas. And now we have a statewide organization that keeps getting bigger by the day, basically. And it's kind of like running a startup business at this point. Yeah. So just because you might not really have an interest in video games or really have an interest in esports, maybe you're like me and you're not super competitive. There's a whole wide world of positions inside this industry. Mm-hmm. The gaming and esports industry is bigger than music and movies combined. And more people watch like Twitch streamers than watch the Super Bowl. So this is a job field like much, much beyond actually playing video games.
Yeah. If you could pick, okay, AJ, you can't say coach, okay?
Took my answer.
But if you could pick one job in the entire esports ecosystem that, first of all, that you would love to do other than the job you have right now, what would maybe be that job? Something that, you could go low and say, the obvious ones, like you could be the gamer, but there's so much more. And Carrie, you probably have a really unique perspective on this when it comes to jobs and careers, because again, you are working at a gaming company. What is a career that you would be really maybe interested in pursuing in this entire field?
It's hard because I think one of the things that I was really passionate about when I was teaching and running a gaming program is I think one of my favorite things was just teaching like game design theory and elements as well as review. So maybe game journalism. Because I think there's within the gaming community, there's a lack of understanding of how to evaluate a game based on design merits. There tends to be a trend for like knee-jerk reactions and these very extreme responses to games without actually breaking down the design elements and flow of a game. So I would love to spend more time on that because I think that could go a long way to changing some of the more problematic aspects of gaming culture.
Anybody else have a career that they wish that they could have pursued in the gaming industry? Or maybe you still could. I mean,
could have.
You all are still young enough. You could go out and go do something completely different.
The world is my oyster.
I think being a color caster would be a lot of fun. I mean, just like Angelique, I did a lot of streaming even before I moved out here. I streamed quite a bit on my Twitch channel, but since I've been here. Actually, today is my 2-year anniversary of being with Park, so I've officially been a collegiate coach for 2 years now. But even before that time, I had so much fun being able to stream. But I really think that being a color caster just sounds like a barrel full of fun. And it would be, you'd be able to kind of it's fun being on camera, and it's fun interacting and making calls for really cool, exciting things that are happening in the game. And that would just, I would be able to better, you got to study the game because you got to be able to know what you talk about. So being able to really take a deep dive and really learn, really intricate details and ins and outs of the games, I think would also be a lot of fun.
And would you say, AJ, when you started streaming, and maybe this is for, because I think everybody here has done some streaming. I mean, we're doing it right now, obviously.
Yeah.
But, I mean, on your own, it's a scary thing to put yourself in front of a camera and just start doing whatever, right?
It's not as scary as teaching a room of 15-year-olds.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you come into streaming after being an educator, it's really a very similar skill set. You're used to being able to stand up and talk about things and fill the gaps in space and be on. I think for me, the hardest part of jumping into streaming when I did a couple of years ago was more that, granted, middle school students can be brutal, but generally, they like you. Streaming can be really brutal, and people can be there specifically just to troll you. And so you have to develop this thick skin of being able to deal with comments that really aren't about you. Or maybe about your gender or your ethnicity or your orientation. And, you need to learn how to handle that on the fly. And that takes some getting used to, being able to take that critique that really isn't, constructive.
But that's a really, let's stop. Let's pause on that for just a second here, because there's a lot in what you just said. Again, let's say you're a 7th or 8th grade girl who is thinking about getting into streaming. Mm-hmm. You have whatever game it is. Okay. I mean, the idea is, let's not worry about making money. Let's not worry about getting followers now. Let's just do something that you love to do. But what can you do to set yourself up for success right out the gate that maybe will help to alleviate some of the things that you might face as a streamer, especially out the gate the first time?
I always recommend that people have a support system in place. I know that stream teams kind of were popular, and then they weren't popular, and now they're kind of popular again, even if you don't go that route, because there's
a stream team?
A stream team is a group of streamers that sort of function as a default sort of organization or community. So they can be really positive if they're there to support and help each other, because you might have, I want to say, professional development. They might offer you different ways to improve your content. Sometimes they're just there for follow, but I think that the best part of a really good stream community is there's somebody that you can get off of a stream and pop into chat and be like, okay, this just happened. And you have a pile of people who are in the industry who know exactly what you're talking about because they go through it too, and they can help you problem solve and troubleshoot. And they can just help be a sounding board or a processing location for you when you're just done, because there are times when you get done from a stream and you're like, why do I do this?
Mm-hmm.
If this is what I'm going to deal with, why do I do this? I think a lot of that is avoidable with how you set up your community and your brand. And that's something that I wish young girls knew. I think there's a conflict with a lot of young girls. They see what works and they see what sells. And a lot of times that's a very sexualized version of a female gamer. And so you see a lot of young girls sort of rushing into a stereotype because it could definitely get them a lot of followers right off the bat. Mm-hmm. But the experience they're going to have with their community is probably going to be a lot rougher, and it's going to make maintaining longevity a lot harder. Whereas if you play towards your gaming strengths or just your personality and you're a little more conservative, your growth is going to be a lot slower, but it allows you to build a much more respectful community. And then that community will have your back. So when somebody comes in and does troll you, how you will get trolled as a woman in gaming. Your community is going to be that first wall that they're going to hit. That's going to be like, yeah, we don't talk to her that way. That's not appropriate here. But that takes time, and that takes patience, and that takes realizing how you present yourself affects the people that you bring into your content.
When you're talking about that, let's go back to that stream team as well, just to maybe simplify it a little bit. What I'm hearing is so like this could be a stream team, right? You could have the four of you where one of you is streaming, or maybe two of you are streaming. What are the other one or two of you maybe doing at that time to be supportive of that and of that stream?
You don't even need to be in each other's streams, because let's be honest, if streaming is what you do, that is a large percentage of your time. If you're not live, then you're working on promotional content, you're working on building new relationships with people via social media, you're working on new overlays, new transitions, new notifications, marketing. It's streaming, if you're looking to do it as a job, it's a full-time job. So your team generally is there for you when you're not live. They can be there in an instant if you need them. I've had people pop into stream team discords and be like, I need help, I need backup, and people will rush over and they're there to be supportive. Because if you're a small streamer and your stream audience consists of 5 people at a time or 3 people at a time, one person who shows up to troll can be overwhelming. Whereas if you can have a couple people in your community show up, it can help provide you support. If you have a much more active stream team, they might be your moderators. I might mod Angelique.
What is a moderator do?
A moderator is the person that helps maintain your brand and your stream community while you are live. So they will be monitoring chat. And so instead of me having to watch chat, my mods will be watching chat, and they will be pulling comments that are inappropriate, deleting them. They'll be putting people on timeout. They'll be whispering to people when things are getting questionable to let them know, hey, you're getting close to crossing a line. They welcome people that are new to the community. They basically they're kind of like part of your PR team. And so, a lot of people on stream teams will mod for one another. You know each other's content, you know what your brand is like, and you'll make sure that you set out time to be there to support, your team members or in just your friends, to help them when they're live.
Any other suggestions from the rest of the group of something that maybe would help with streaming? I mean, it is a trap to fall into. I mean, even now tonight, I'm looking at the number of, I don't know how accurate that number is, that number that's in the upper left-hand corner of the screen that we are looking at. But it is easy to fall into that trap of likes and, followers and things. But is there any other suggestions you can have as far as developing your brand or streaming or things of that nature?
Along with having your support system, you should be ready. I think we talked about it before. It was one of the military branches had, preparation documents on dealing with a specific troll. Yeah. That's the kind of thing you can prepare for. Absolutely. And what happens a lot of times is the first time we encounter that kind of harassment, it is very violating. And so you go into that fight or flight response, and you don't know what to do. So preparing yourself, or even having your friends type something out, or maybe even have things ready that you can copy paste, prepare ahead of time for this kind of thing. And that way, when it happens, you don't have that panic response. It's the entire reason that we have fire drills. Yep. No one's died in a school fire in 65 years or something like that. But we still have them once a month because they're no big deal. Evacuating our building is something we can do in 90 seconds flat and account for everybody, which is crazy with middle schoolers. So it's that be prepared, practice so you don't panic.
And that's something you could bring your team members in for. When I taught content creation, I had people that were on my stream community come in and troll my students. Like, it was all very controlled, but it helped give them firsthand experience to react immediately to somebody coming in and doing something that wasn't appropriate. And these were people I trusted, so I knew that no lines were going to be crossed and it was going to stay appropriate, but allowed them to be like, okay, let's, you've gotta, what are you doing? And I trained both the streamer on that and I trained the mod on that as well. So, everybody that was there, they were either getting modding practice or they were learning how to handle it as the person that was live.
I know that for many of these people, these young ladies who may be watching, we will be at some of the middle schools next year launching esports programs. And our high schools all have esports programs where if you want to get into streaming, if you want to get into content creation, we can help you with that. But, we're not going to have every game. I know that some of the big titles that girls in our school district love to play. Can anybody guess what the number one title is that I found out last year? I don't know what this year is like, but last year's number one title.
I know because I heard you say it at a conference.
Oh, okay, you did, but don't say it. Well, again, okay, because we got limited time. What is it?
It was Call of Duty, right?
Call of Duty was number one. And the number two game was?
NBA 2K.
NBA 2K. So,
Wow.
I literally quote this all the time.
Yeah, and the reason why is because
nobody believes me that girls are gamers,
right?
And I'm like, or like what? They're like, oh, we don't do titles that girls would like. NBA 2K and Call of Duty are titles that you don't.
I love that.
That's why I asked you one day for your sources for all your material, and you sent me basically like a bibliography, and that's actually the one I was looking for because I wanted to be able to cite the source.
That was just me pooling the room, but for those of you who again are watching this, I guess if you're part of the GEMS conference, do realize that we don't necessarily have Call of Duty right now as a game choice, but we have
Nor is
games.
it necessary.
Well, because it's an M-rated game,
right? It's not necessary. But
if you want to still, let's say we even have game titles you don't like, or a game you've never played before, because the ones we have in our school district are Overwatch, Smite, Rocket League, and Smash Brothers. Even if there's those games you don't like, we can teach you how to stream. We can teach you how to be those content creators. If you love the idea of gaming and gaming culture, developing your artwork or things like that, we want to have you as part of the program. Mm-hmm. And we will still give you a jersey and you'll still get to put your gamer tag on the back of it and things like that. But we look forward to hopefully having you as part of the program. So
I want to add,
go ahead.
With that streaming, once you stream, your confidence level is through the roof. Like when you're good at it and you can shut down trolls and you know how to negotiate this stuff, nothing can stop you. And I know as middle schoolers, I was one, I remember that I thought everybody else was more confident than I was. And that everybody else knew what was going on and I didn't. And I was not part of, I just was missing something. Mm-hmm. And when you tackle something like streaming on your own or even modding or learning this stuff, your confidence level, you're going to be the one that everybody's like, she is confident. And it's going to be because you're good at something, something that you're proud of and something that you can build on. And you really should, even if you aren't necessarily interested in the games, which you might get interested in them. James or Mr. O'Hagan has got me playing a game that I never would have considered before. But once you tackle this,
it's amazing.
Yeah, oh my gosh, my family is so sick of it. They're so sick of it. So you might get interested in them, but being able to do all this stuff and feel confident on camera and feel confident about the way you look and present yourself is something that I wish I had had when I was in middle school. Mm-hmm. And this is a good chance to do it. Plus, you can literally be paid for this while you're in high school. It's so much better than working at McDonald's.
I also think too, though, on that same note, is it's important for, this is anyone starting out streaming, but especially middle schoolers, to not place your value and your confidence in how you do on stream, how you feel on stream, or how other people, talk to you on stream. I think that, it is kind of a scary place, streaming, like what Carrie was saying. You are going to encounter trolls. You are going to encounter people who are going to say things about the way you look, the way you talk, the way, whatever, right? Color of your hair, what your room looks like, what kind of headphones you have, whatever, right? And it's important to not place your value, your confidence in what other people think of you, which is just like a life lesson. But I think coming into streaming, a lot of people, come into streaming thinking that that's going to give them that sort of reassurance. And it's important to have that on your own and within before you can get into something like streaming.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
This is
and
like,
plus your grandma's gonna watch it. Like she will.
My grandmother occasionally watches.
That's awesome.
I mean, your parents and your grandparents will watch it, so you will have followers.
Let's talk about that for a second, because there are a lot of kids who have parents who don't necessarily see eye to eye with streaming or, even the video games that they play. Mm-hmm. Let's take the idea of just streaming. I know that I am even hesitant about my 14-year-old daughter getting in front of a camera and putting herself out there, because there are trolls and idiots out there who will do stupid things and say stupid things and make her not feel good about herself. I don't want that to happen. But let's say you are prepared let's say you're like, you know what, I'm 13, I want to get out, this is what I want to do. How do you start to approach your parents about this? Even if your parents won't let you necessarily stream right away, what is something you could do maybe to practice or show them what this is all about?
I think one thing you want to approach, as somebody said earlier, like you got to have a business plan. I think it's good to understand the business aspect of streaming. A lot of adults don't realize that at 13 you can do content creation. There's also ability for monetization. So if you hit affiliate, or amazingly enough, you hit it big and you can partner, there's ways for you to have a passive income coming in. I know for some parents, as soon as they realized that, all of a sudden it became a lot more appealing. Mm-hmm. Other students, I've talked to them and said, like, hey, like you have to understand streaming puts you at risk. And so you also have to be able to convey to your parents that you understand the risks involved and that you are not going to disclose personal information, that the people you play with are not going to disclose personal information. And you have to practice that, because if you're around kids, especially, I want to say like 13 to 16, they tend to play with their friends. And while they may be trying really hard to not use names, locations, schools, their friends aren't, because they're just playing with their buddy. And then real names are dropped, schools are dropped, and all of a sudden personal information that has no business being out there is out there. So I'd say practice really hard building that public facing persona, which should not be your real name. You need to build your streamer identity. You need to make sure that you're really good at using it and be able to show that, as well as a lot of parents are going to be really uncomfortable with children using cams. So being ready to approach your parents and say, hey, I want to try this, but being willing to start without a cam on. That's
an alternative. Instead of maybe they want to have a cam on. Okay. And I know a lot of students have been streaming all year. What is an alternative instead of putting yourself in front of the camera? What else could you do? If
you're in esports, a lot of esports or competitive gamers have keyboard and mice cams. So you're watching what their hands are doing the entire time. Oh yeah, so that is just it. Like most of my son's friends, when they stream, they have a cam, but it's all what their fingers are doing, and that's a pretty big thing with a lot of the competitive youth players. The other thing is that there are different apps and additions you can add depending on how you stream that basically gives you a little cartoon avatar, so you can still have your little cam window up, but it's like a corgi that's in your colors, that's talking with your voice. And that's a great way to go about it if you still want that graphic interaction but not have it actually be you.
I also
know I can do this. I can use my voice to enjoy So if we were to say have a stuffed animal and I had a voice changer app, now I could really disguise myself.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah.
I'm gonna call you Teddy Ruxpin. You remember those?
Okay. Yes,
Yeah.
I do. They won't know what you're talking about, but
I
know,
had a
but-
Teddy Ruxpin.
Yeah, me too.
I never had one.
so we a practice session just locally, right?
I love
Just-
that idea.
Just record yourself and just see what you look like. Share it with your, go to your mom or your dad and go, look, this is what I did for the last. Mom, Dad, you got 30 minutes. Let's watch this.
Ask your parents to mod for you when you start. Like,
You stream with your dad, Carrie.
I do, but as an adult, I don't have to. But yeah,
You can also just ask them just to start watching some streamers
absolutely.
with you.
I
Because
am a mod on my son's channel.
Yeah. Watching my son play was how I discovered I even liked video games. So, I mean, as a parent, I want to watch. So your parents probably want to be involved in it. And they would, you're a middle school girl. They're going to bend over backwards if you ask them to hang out with you.
Be involved in my life.
Play this right now. But start, if your parents are super anti all of this, they don't get it at all, start by having them watch some with you. Right. And maybe drop some hints, talk about some of the females that are in the industry, and just talk about the potential of it over time. I'm gonna tell you, don't beg. As a parent, also don't beg, but also ask us to be involved. We want to.
And I think too, the perspective of why you're coming at it might be different. Like if you're young and the parents get the vibe that this is just another social media thing, like because you want the followers, you want the attention, that might not be a platform that parents are going to respect. But if you can say like, hey, I'm passionate about gaming, I have a voice, I think it's important that there are more young women like me that are visible within the gaming community, representing, my gender in this space. That's a different perspective, and that might be a perspective that goes over a little better with parents than just, because I want to have a great follower base and I want to have people follow me on Twitter and I want like subs and, and bits. Like, know what you want to do and why you want to do it.
Well,
Carrie, you do it because you enjoy doing it.
I do. Yeah, I do it because I love gaming. And when I decided I was going to start teaching content creation, I knew that in order to be able to truly help kids understand and how to navigate it, I had to do it. I had to be in it. Otherwise, it's not genuine, and you don't understand the pitfalls. So for me, I hopped into it probably 8 months before I started teaching it because I wanted to go through it. If you have never taken your first jump into a live stream with a webcam, you don't understand what that anxiety is, because it's there. Even if you're confident, it's different.
Flipgrid is great practice, guys. Your teachers are already using Flipgrid. Practice on Flipgrid.
Ooh, good point. I wanted to throw this up here to Sam Anton, who is the COO of the North America Scholastic Esports Federation, checking in. I think most folks just need to hear that there is no gene you need to be born with to play video games, and that the reason you might not have had the opportunity to play games more was largely out of your control.
Yep.
Parents upholding patriarchy, meaning the girls who I talked to last year said the reason why they play Call of Duty and NBA 2K was because their brothers play those games. So those were the games that they had in the house. So that's a really good point as well too. So we only have a couple of minutes left. Any final thoughts? But now, those of you who are watching on the stream, we will continue after we do that. We're going to do a kind of an odd break here. So we're going to go on with our regular conversation for tonight. But any final thoughts for the 7th and 8th grade girls who maybe, like I said, are interested in esports, video games, streaming? Any final ideas? We'll go around the horn. We'll start with Angelique this time.
I think it's just knowing that you don't have to be a professional, amazing gamer to be in this space. Of course, being really good at a game would be great, but it's not a reality for most of us. I love video games. I'm not amazing at them. And I honestly kind of like that better, but because becoming a professional esports player sounds like a lot of pressure and a lot of different things coming at you. And there's so many other different opportunities for you to be involved in this space. We have everybody here. We're in all different aspects. You can be a teacher and be in esports. You can work for a game development company. Everybody's getting really good at using Procreate. I don't know if you've seen it. My students just crush it on Procreate, and you can make, panels and scenes for streamers. You can do the art within games. There's so many opportunities. So don't let, not being the best of the best hold you back from getting into something that can really be the best community that I've ever been a part of. So
let me ask you this: Procreate, is that like Adobe Spark?
It's like Photoshop, from what I understand, but
for tablets.
Yeah.
Because everything that I did on this stream, the background, the overlay of the Esports EDU on the Thursdays, and even the background that I have behind me right now, I made that all completely on Adobe Spark, which is all web-based. Adobe photo creation software.
Yeah, it's I don't know.
School district, you have access to it. So
that's nice.
Yeah, I mean, my students, we just did a creative project, and a lot of them, were just telling me that they use Procreate, and they were showing it to me, and I was like, you could make so much money.
Yeah, I use it. If I'm not in Canva, I'm in Procreate. Those are my two apps.
AJ, what about you?
I think probably the point that I would kind of want to drive home is, it's pretty much the world is your oyster at this point in time. I think that, as the years, kind of tick by, high school is getting a lot more, stable and has a lot more structure around it for esports. And, I have been in contact with a local middle school that had came and visited back in the fall semester, and they wanted to, get started. So, if you're looking to, play at a competitive level within your, when you get to high school, and then when you get to college, that might be also a good way to kind of bring your parents in on the conversation. If you show them that they can enter the esports space in these, education-based, controlled environments, that might help, your parents kind of buy in, I would say, to you kind of wanting to be a part of the esports world. So that's what I would say.
All right, and we are up against a hard clock here. So Danielle, you go, and then Carrie.
This is my group of friends. I've only met Jim or Mr. O'Hagan. I've only met Mr. O'Hagan in real life once. But these are my friends, and I've met them through gaming and esports.
Carrie?
I think an important thing to remember too is that it's a big industry. There are a lot of options, and a lot of what you're going to learn is transferable to other things as well. So if you're learning PR, marketing, teamwork, analysis, all the things that go in the esports environment, it's useful. It's going to have a purpose and a functionality in the future.
All right, and for the young ladies at the GEMS conference, again, thank you for being a part of the conversation today. Again, my name is Mr. O'Hagan. If you want more information about esports and education, you can look me up through email. So you go into your school district email account, start typing in James, that's my first name, and you should see O'Hagan come up. Feel free to email me, and I will get right back to you and tell you what you can do with esports in your schools. So thank you. And now let's begin the next thing.
Scene.
And scene. Okay. All right. Now we can just all start. Okay. Now we can take our professional hats off and, unbutton our. Yeah. Get everybody get relaxed now. Now the show's getting a little blue. All right. So, first of all, Angelique, your hair is red.
It's not red. It's just, I don't know what's happening with it. I didn't do anything. It might be my camera. It's Well, here's the long, short story. We tried to take the purple out of my hair and make it blonde, but Angelique used something to dye her hair purple that I shouldn't have, so the purple will stay for the rest of my life. So we tried to get that out. My hair turned bubblegum pink, then it turned orange, and then I was like, should I just go back to purple? And here's where I'm at. And soon I will be back to purple, don't worry.
I took my I had my 9 and my 7-year-old daughters at the time. One got a big pink streak. I asked my ex-wife, can I dye their hair? Sure. One had a big pink streak, one had a big purple streak. And after a couple weeks, she goes, hey, it's not coming out. I go, what do you mean it's not coming out? She goes, you did use temporary dye, did you? I go, like, there's a temporary? So guess what I got? My broke self got to take these girls to like the local like beauty school because I couldn't pay $200 for a re-dye on a hair, professional.
Ooh, man.
And thankfully they're like, well, normally we don't work on anybody under 13. I'm like, please take pity on me. I'm a poor and they fixed their hair for me, and it was beautifully well done. And my ex-wife was no longer mad at me. So
it does not look red in person, so I don't know what's happening here, but
it's the lighting.
Yeah,
your lighting's really warm.
By the way, that conversation was really good.
Yay!
I thought it was.
I need to great.
I need to just shut up more, though. I think
it goes along with my plan, or one of my world domination plans.
Ooh.
What, talking to girls?
Yeah.
Well, what you said? Now wait, you said you have some news. Is this something you're going to share here? Or?
I can. We're all friends, right?
We are.
This
all
isn't
friends.
being
Everybody
broadcast
who's watching
at
is
all, right?
It's totally being broadcast, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if we have to save, we can save that for
No,
later.
I just won't. It's fine. I know how to protect the information. I've had practice. Thank you, friends. So, well, I also don't want to call people out, but they're probably good with this. So eFuse, a few weeks or a few days ago had their Women of the E-Arena tournament and did not have mods.
Yeah.
So I was like with everything, I'm like, can I change it? Hell, yeah, I can change this.
You can go blue on this. Again, the kids are over. We're good.
Right. I don't, guys, because I don't know if you're like allowed to cuss on Twitch. I have no idea. So
you definitely are. You're allowed.
Okay, I have no idea. I don't know.
Have you ever gone to the just chatting category on like a Friday night? Okay.
No, I don't watch things. I read a lot of news. It's probably gross. So anyway, I gave them feedback, which, by the way, and I straight up told one of them this after, I did not expect 3 white males working in technology and esports to be feminists. I was a little surprised. Not that they said it at all. I just freaking realized it after a conversation because I told them, I was like, okay, so whatever you would normally have for moderation, like multiply it by 4, they should be mostly women. And they were like, okay, yeah, we'll do better. And I was like, holy cow, there was no clapback, like not even a little bit. So
I can't believe
my goal is.
No, I can believe it. I do know some of these people at eFuse, and you're right. They are.
I've been very pleased with.
That's good.
Working with eFuse, very pleased. So I was like, I teach children, right? So my plan is, and I have some interested parties for the big aspects of it. But I want to put on like a 10-week cohort.
I had to move you, Carrie. It was bothering me during the stream, and
That's okay. I was totally distracted by Angelique, so we're all good.
Because, sorry, continue.
Sorry, Danielle.
Oh, you're good.
Where's she going?
I got confused because Angelique left and y'all switched.
I'm sorry. Because Navi is sitting here like pulling on my headphones and literally knocking one thing off my desk. So sorry. I'm here now.
She's welcome in the stream. Everybody's welcome. So in partnership with an organization, I want to put on a 10-week like camp for a 10-week cohort. Like, so once a week for 10 weeks, cohort for girls to build their like Twitch channel and learn to mod, and then have them be hired to mod women's events. Actually, to mod anything.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, like, I mean, y'all are who I'm going to ask for help. So,
live letting us know that this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
She's already cleared our calendar.
Yeah, Sam's in too. Cool. You're in, right? Okay. So that's what I kind of want to do. And so, like, literally you like outline the curriculum, Carrie. So, but it's about, you know, making sure that you have people that you can like stream with, and you have a community. So we would like be building that community for the girls, kind of forcing it. But then also, like, EFUS hires high school kids. Like, that's their job. Instead of working at McDonald's, they work for EFUS as their job. Yeah. And so I'm like, they will hire these girls. And then we are getting girls jobs in the industry, like building their portfolio. Like, they can just monetize their Twitch channel. And like, you know, so that's what I want to do. And because for some strange reason, people listen to me. We're going to do it. And like, for some strange reason, I can like do things and like build things and make things. We're going to do that. So
I mean,
start recruiting some girls.
The fact that you had Ken Shelton over to dinner at your house, I haven't even had Ken over to my house for dinner. Like, you're a baller. The best place to eat in Dallas is my house. Like, my boyfriend is such a phenomenal cook that it is 100% like, it is just worth it to come over to eat. Like, it is just not worth going out.
All right, I'm gonna hold you to that when I come to Texas.
Danielle,
I'm not even lying.
Danielle has invited me. Good. I think you invited me for if I was going to come, because I'm not coming for the Tex
for TCEA.
But you had already said, come over.
Yep. Like, we make pizza in the wood oven in the yard. And
you have
like,
one of those? Oh, I'm definitely coming now. Yeah.
You have a yard?
In a pool. I have a pool, guys, in Dallas. We bought one of those houses that like you see on shows.
I love it. Angelique just said this so naturally. It's just like, you have a yard?
Hashtag San Diego.
Right?
Yeah. So, yeah. But anyway, so that's what I want to do. And so, you know, this week or so, I want to figure out who the grown-ups are. But in the next like few weeks, I want to start like recruiting girls and like feeling out where we should start recruiting from, and start figuring this out. Because I'd like it to run from like spring break to like the end of May, because TechSF is going to have a big tournament like right at the start of summer to kind of end the year, and I want workers basically.
Yeah.
But I want them to have like an event that they are part of organizing and, you know, executing.
Right.
I just want to send my my love and support to Nate. Nate, I see you checking in from Indiana. Welcome, my friend. I am so glad to see that you are here. So thank you for being here, Nate. It means a lot that you're checking in here. Gosh, you know, we only got like 7 minutes left, and we've talked about, you know, everybody's going to Danielle's house for food.
Yes. My hair is red.
What's up with
our Fortnite tournament on the 1st.
Oh, yes,
phenomenally, guys.
Tell us about that. How did that work out for you? Because I remember the message was, I don't know how to stream Fortnite.
I don't.
Yes.
So, like I said, I'm just like, you know, we're teachers. We have to figure things out so we can show them to our students, especially when you like, I don't know, the way we are. So there's 3 days, we have finally all the logistics out. Like, the kids are all signed up. We have everything flowing about like the organization. And like 3 days before, I'm like, okay, maybe I should start thinking about the stream aspect, because we just like do low key stream for our Tuesday nights. like they're throwing together graphics that like we've hodgepodge together. So I start asking around, like, how do you stream? Because 3 days is a long time. How do you stream Fortnite? Do you like follow somebody? Like, do you just like creep on their Twitch and like bring it in? Do you like have somebody run around? Is there a super secret spectator mode that I don't know about, which apparently there is?
Yeah, you
like-
die and you watch other people who killed you.
Yeah.
Right. No, there's a high level one.
Yeah,
like
we're not that cool.
that I'm not cool enough to have.
No.
So I reach out to Danny Martin of Esports, and I just messaged him to ask him how they do it. And the next thing I know, we have a graphics package and like the show's being run. And
It's awesome.
but the thing
Danny's
is,
a
like,
good guy.
he works with all students. Like, that's who puts all their stuff together. Is like recently out of school, like right out of high school, some are right out of college. But there are people that have worked for him for like part-time, like when they were in school. He's got a ton of kids. I don't know. He does what we do. He just charges like $25 for it. So, because he didn't come from the teacher aspect of it, you know?
Well, he's doing it with the park district down there.
Yeah, he works with the park district. He
Yeah.
runs an after-school program.
He's gotta pay rent.
has, yeah. But
Yeah,
he
the
like
man's gotta
doesn't, yeah. But I don't know. He makes it so that the students particularly where his campus is low income and mostly students of color, and so sorry, my mic. He makes it accessible for them and for their families, and not just the kids, but he like accommodates. He works. He does this for the betterment of his community. But I just reached out to ask him a question, and all of a sudden we have like a graphics package. They're running this show because of. I'm gonna like promote them right now because of EFUS and Esports. Like, we all got to enjoy it, so
That's
it was
cool.
great.
That's awesome.
And one of my students shoutcasted the whole thing for
yay.
3 hours. And that was really exciting for me because we actually haven't had a student do it yet because we're still, under construction. And so I had accidentally like sent a message because his dad and I are friends. I like accidentally texted him something and was like, "Oh, by the way, are either your kiddos like interested in, doing this?" But I actually found he did amazing that night. I asked him the night before, so that he like stayed up and like researched and watched casters, and he was amazing. And I found this kid at an Uno tournament.
Love
What?
it.
So we have a school-wide Uno tournament that we do when
you
it's not a
told us
pandemic.
about this.
And so we start by homerooms. And so his homeroom teacher was like, "Oh my gosh, Ian was so funny in homeroom. He was like doing the play-by-play for the Uno tournament." And I was like, "That's hilarious. I want this kid to do I wonder if he wants to like cast the student staff volleyball game." Which, by the way, he was hilarious.
What?
I mean, real Uno is
Wait,
cutthroat.
what?
So-
Wait, hold on. Let's just isolate what Carrie
I
said.
need to-
Should we call this?
How do you? Yes.
Yes.
Uno. My kids
it's
miss
like-
Uno because
it's
we
just-
are an Uno.
No.
school.
Oh my god! Yeah, and it's really fast paced. Like when the kids get it down, like it's bloodthirsty.
I need this in my life.
I'm feeling like I need it too. Like, I can handle Uno.
Uno's intense.
You say that now,
Yeah.
and then no.
Look, if a 45-year-old man can play up against a bunch of 20-year-olds in rugby, I think
No, I
can
got
handle
schooled.
cutthroat
I got
Uno.
hardcore schooled. It was like my child even got up, walked downstairs to shame me. Was like, what was that? 0.2 second delay.
I hope I
on
found that on
Mom?
TikTok. Can I find this on TikTok?
Yeah, no.
That's awesome.
Okay, we are almost out of time for tonight. But you know what I'm going to do? Because I think...
There's Uno Jenga, by the way.
I haven't played that.
How do you play it?
Wow.
Yeah, we played it the other day. It's Uno Jenga.
That's my Google
It's
after
a
this.
real twist on traditional Jenga.
I put like 5 decks together and I let my whole class play until one person wins in a giant circle.
Genius.
That's not bad, actually.
Yeah.
Wait, how many kids
I need
are in
to
your
figure out
class?
how to run this in class.
My biggest class is 32 kids.
How long did it take?
I mean, you know, maybe all time the whole period, but that's fine.
Long enough.
Oh, I was thinking like 3 days. Like
Oh, it
I would
depends.
totally
Who's
devote
asking-
3 days to this.
Who's asking me how long it took?
We want an honest answer.
We'll talk
No
about-
administrators are present.
I mean,
I'm
but
an
are
administrator,
they?
but not at your school.
No.
It's community building. It doesn't matter.
Absolutely it is.
There you
Yeah.
go.
The kids, literally, I did that, and I also did musical chairs one time. And I have kids come back and they're like, "Do you remember that one time we played musical chairs?" I'm like, "Or the book we read, or whatever."
Learning,
Yeah, but musical
I-
chairs.
I used to have whole afternoons that I'm like, I don't want to teach, and I would just read to my 5th graders.
Yeah.
I'd spend an hour and a half, 2 hours just reading to them because I didn't want, and they would just sit there and just chill out. And,
It's one of those things that as an adult, like you see that, or as a teacher, you know that happens. But as a kid, like I was so clueless that my teacher was spending 2 hours reading because she didn't want to.
Okay, wait.
Function
Okay,
anymore.
I have a bigger confession to make. So
Oh no.
while my kids were taking standardized tests, I told them you have 60 minutes, right? You would have whatever time it was, right? God, I can't believe I'm saying this. My first couple of years teaching, I would be playing video games on my laptop, and the kids would all be done in like 30 minutes, and I'd be like,
No, we still have 30 more minutes.
you still have 15 more minutes left. Who knows? You might come up with a different answer or something and want to change your answer.
I
have to give
haven't
you the
finished
full
my
time.
level yet.
Yeah. Unless
Sam,
I
I
was playing
put you in
SimCity.
charge of that.
Scandal.
I don't know.
Right? Wow.
I think there has to be, right?
We should make a stream where we just read anonymous teacher confessions.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know if
That'd
I
be
was just
hilarious.
anonymous.
Have y'all ever been on the subreddit stories about Kevin?
Do I
No.
need to be?
No.
Kevin is kind of a Reddit like lore or legend
Yeah.
from this post about this one this one teacher. I guess it was like an Ask Reddit thread, and it was like teachers like, what's the dumbest or silliest or weirdest student you've ever had? It was the best thing I've ever read. It was hands down the funniest thing I've ever read, and the like most I've ever connected with another like a piece of writing about a student over the internet. Like, and now there's a whole subreddit of stories about Kevin.
I mean,
And
you can't be a teacher and not have.
you've all
not
had
have
Kevin.
stories.
You've
Yeah,
all
yeah.
had Kevin.
And sometimes more than one. Like I had 2 of my ex-students show up in my stream this week.
Don't read it right now. You won't be able to keep a straight face. You'll fall over laughing. I see Jim starting. Don't start yet.
No,
You have to wait.
I subscribed. I subscribed.
Gotta
to
bookmark
this.
it.
Yeah. Hey, all right. First couple of things. Number one, I'm going to take the first part of this episode. I'm going to put it out as a bonus on the Academy of Esports podcast stream. So if anybody wants to grab it and share it with their middle school kids, please feel free to do so. Also, this is still up on LinkedIn. This is still up on YouTube. This is still up on Twitch and Twitter until they decide to not have streams anymore, I guess. I don't know. So thank you to all of you for that amazing bit of content on the fly tonight, because we were going to do this after and it was like, well, wait a second, let's just do it now. I mean,
Yeah.
This is all stuff everybody wants to hear anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
Final thoughts before we get out of here tonight. Anybody? Again, AJ, you haven't been here forever. Just tell people, what have you been up to this whole time?
What have I been up to? Well, I did have a nice little break. I still had to work a little bit because we were bringing in 5 new athletes for the spring semester, so having to get all of their onboarded. Other than that, we start classes next week. All of the athletes are getting COVID tested tomorrow, so fingers crossed that, we pass with flying colors, and then Monday we get back to it, and we'll see where the semester this spring semester takes us this time.
All right. And when do you start? Are we gonna not see you again for 3 months? And then...
Right.
I know, right? Well, so next we won't have competitive matches landing on Thursday nights until like the end of February. So
Okay,
Ooh.
so
got,
we
like,
can
a
for a little
good-
while.
yeah, I got like a good maybe like month and a half, 2 months.
Awesome.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. And
All your late work
Oh,
is
God.
due by Friday at 11:59.
Angelique, what's your final thought?
Listen,
I imagine her coming out of the tunnel at like the WWE with
Right,
that playing on.
I tried to use a real one today. It did not work.
you gotta keep that on the DL. I have new students. We just started school on Wednesday, like literally yesterday, so they don't know that I have it yet. I'm saving it. You know. You
Wait a
gotta-
minute. Wait. I mean,
Oh gosh.
But you know what? Actually, playing on that, don't take life so seriously. I feel like that's my ending thought. Like you know, on the same topic of if you are a middle schooler and you're trying to stream, you're trying to get into gaming, like be silly and let yourself be silly, because that's the best part of streaming. As you can see from my little, what is that called? Clip.
Your little sound clip?
do I
Yeah.
need to play it
Sound
again?
clip.
No, I'm not gonna play it. Sam will think the phone is going off.
That's the best
great.
part of streaming is not being so serious and letting yourself be silly and letting your personality shine. And that's what people love, and that's what people come back for, not the other stuff.
Danielle?
YouTube clips are not streaming. So when a streamer edits all their play together, like 4 hours of play into a 20-minute video, and it's extreme, and they are doing that male YouTube voice.
It's extreme, but wait, no, I got the voice.
Oh my gosh!
I've got it.
Like-
Right here. It's this.
There's a couple. Yeah, there's a couple of them.
You gotta play, brother. Oh, we gotta.
That's not the voice.
It's not that one. It's not
Yeah.
that one voice. But you're only seeing part of it. You're not seeing the whole thing. And so like real like streaming is not, it's more
YouTube,
low key. It's not YouTube. It's way different. But as consumers, we also need to realize that when we see clips, we don't see the struggle. We only see the highlights.
Right.
So that one angled story is not real.
I mean, it's
Or it's
same as
not
like
the
Instagram
truth.
posts, social media.
Yeah, one's curated
Right.
and one's live, and they're totally different.
Right.
Yeah.
And live, it's totally okay. Nobody's looking at your flaws. Nobody's paying that close of attention to you.
Carrie.
So since we're talking about practicing, things that are hard with streaming, I think the last 24 hours highlight the importance of talking to students about how to handle crisis situations as a public entity, because streamers are, and it's been really interesting watching streamer Twitter rip itself apart today. So talk about how to process situations, how to be respectful of various communities, when to be quiet, when to not, and what the implications of either of those choices could potentially be on your career, your brand, and your community. I think those are valuable conversations to have, because we're living through a teachable moment right now, and it probably won't be the last time something big happens that's going to affect large portions of people.
Very cool. And my final thought is you all were wonderful. Thank you for being so flexible that I didn't get the link into
got
the
cookie
chat
dough?
until... What?
I'm jealous
dough.
now. I want the cookie dough.
We're distracted in chat. I'm sorry.
I want cookie dough too, but I will say thank you everybody for being so flexible tonight and helping me with my issues of getting things going tonight. I'm sorry I got the chat or the link in to be here late. I'm sitting here literally a minute before, and I'm going,
Where is
everyone?
Yeah, I was like, should we be concerned? Is
We
it
were
okay?
outside the
So
window looking in, like,
Let me
why
in,
don't you want us?
Yeah,
I
Stand
didn't
outside your
notice
house.
because I decided like at 6:29 I was gonna join.
Well, thank you.
Really
I'm
Thank you.
tired.
You all made it wonderful. Thanks everybody for checking in, and we will see you again next week. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.